Yeah, oftentimes you want the game on Fox or CBS at 4:25 to be like the game of the day. And they didn't disappoint in Los Angeles, California at SoFi Stadium because the Los Angeles Rams beat the Bills in a great shootout type of situation game, 44-42. Matthew Stafford was fantastic. Quick take on the Rams. I maintain they're the best team in the NFC West. They're going to win the division, run down Seattle. They'll beat San Francisco on Thursday. Rams are in great shape. Puka Nacua is unguardable. We know what the Rams are. Wouldn't want to face them in the first round, say that much. Matter of fact, I might pick the Rams, even against the Vikings or the Packers, as well as both are playing. But the story is Josh Allen. And listen, folks who watch this show know that I've been, I think, relatively consistent on Josh, but some don't feel that way. My mindset has been this. He is a no question, no doubt, you are a moron if you argue that he is not a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Josh Allen is absolutely that. But my thing has simply been this. He's great. His upside, man, he's amazing. And his downside at his lowest points, it's kind of a roller coaster with Josh. Well, now he's giving you upside, is Josh Allen, without really any downside. That's the scary part. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, if you're certainly not if you're a Bills fan, it's great if you're a Bills fan. It's bad if you're a Rams fan. When Josh Allen, after putting up 6 touchdowns, no turnovers at all, by the way, 6 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 3 on the ground. Josh was unreal against the Rams. The throw he made to Mac Hollins in the fourth quarter, right over the shoulder of the DB. I mean, there's not many guys that can make throws like that. The guy's an all-time talent. And I have always been on the mindset, Mahomes is the best. That's indisputable. There's not a legitimate case you can make anybody currently playing is better than Patrick Mahomes. You just can't. I've been the mindset the last few years. I don't know. Only guy that's beaten him that's currently playing Joe in the playoffs is Joe Burrow. And Joe's still great. By the way, Joe's having an amazing season. Problem is defense stinks, and Joe has a health problem. I've always had Lamar Jackson at number 3 because while he also can't beat Mahomes like Josh Allen in the playoffs, well, he does have 2 MVPs, and he's kind of a unique player. At this point, look, so's Josh Allen. He very well may win league MVP this year. Certainly Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore for the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley appear to have a Josh Allen futures bet on MVP. That's all I can figure with their idiotic play calling. What a surprise. But this guy's number 2. And I think at this point, it's indisputable. That doesn't mean I don't love Joe Burrow. I mean, he's awesome. Scared to death when my Steelers face Joe Burrow. But when he's hurt, nothing against Jake Browning. Good backup. Not that scared. Lamar Jackson, I'm not scared at all as a Steelers fan because he stinks against us, bad against the Chiefs, and bad in the playoffs. If the knock on Josh Allen is can't beat the Chiefs, well, I mean, who does? Not many people do beat the Chiefs. Not in the playoffs. Only Cincinnati and a team quarterbacked by Tom Brady does. And by the way, Josh has been, obviously everybody remembers the game in 2021, but Josh has been mostly great in those 3 games. Not as good as Mahomes, because he's not as good as Mahomes, but he's been great. He's had playoff games against New England where his team doesn't punt. Josh if we're going to label Josh as like a postseason choker, that's just not true. He's been amazing in the playoffs. Can't say that about Lamar. You can't say that about Burrow. You just don't know if Burrow's necessarily going to be healthy enough to get you there or to be to have a sustained health to go through the rest of the season and be ready to go come January and maybe February. Is that facing a team like the Los Angeles Rams? It's a big game for Los Angeles. They're trying to keep pace with Seattle for the division because we saw with what Seattle did to Arizona. Had the Rams lost, they'd be 2 back with 4 to go. They'd be in dire straits and 2 games back of the last wild card spot with Washington. This is a big game for the Rams. If Buffalo Bills fans, as I predicted, they were going to make their presence felt at SoFi just like they did the last time these 2 teams played 2 years ago. But the fact of the matter is this. When you have a guy on that side of the ball, this is why Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford were sort of on aggressive on 4th down in the 4th quarter. This is why Matthew Stafford is slinging it all over the yard to Cooper Kupp, who caught a touchdown. Puka Nacua, who was incredible. To Apple and others. Like, being able to get these guys involved, is Matthew Stafford's like, I got to keep pace with this guy. He's special. He's an all-time talent, is Josh Allen. And listen, what you saw yesterday in SoFi was a quarterback masterclass. There's no other way to classify it. You talk about a Stafford who's obviously not as mobile as Josh and has never been known for, an ability to like move outside the pocket, make plays, but he's one of the greatest arm talents we've seen. Be able to stand in there, deliver throws on time, on target. Against Stafford, had a QBR of 97.6 on a scale 0 to 100. Stafford was awesome. but he was outshone because he was facing the second best quarterback in football. And I think the thing right now for Buffalo, and this has to be a little bit concerning. This is because I had the Bills at number 1 on Bryce's best 10 coming of the week. They're going to drop. Not that far. They're still great, but they're going to drop. This has kind of been my concern with Buffalo, is that I've felt all season long, this is their best chance thus far to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This is their best chance to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs team that, while they win, they do win close games, and Buffalo has the roster. They're built to beat Kansas City. They run the football, although not yesterday. I don't know. James Cook, 6 carries for 20 yards. I mean, Josh Allen, folks, 6 touchdowns with no turnovers. I think what's even more impressive than that is those numbers, and he got 21 yards from his run game. Josh Allen was Buffalo's run game. He had 82 yards rushing on 10 carries. He had 82 of the 103 that the Buffalo Bills had on the ground. And so is the thing you get concerned about is situationally, can Buffalo stack up to Kansas City? And that's the concern, and that is what has gotten them beat. Is that late in these games, be it offensively at the end of the last playoff game, not executing down near the red zone. The game before that, where Josh was awesome, the defense couldn't get a stop to save their lives, or a combination of the two the first time they played in the postseason, is that Sean McDermott. I've called him for years. He's the Mark Jackson of the NFL. And folks know, who watch the show, Warriors fan here, love Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson put the pieces in place to start the Warriors dynasty. Kerr just elevated it. But Mark Jackson came into a desperate franchise, a woebegone franchise, couldn't do anything, and took it to a playoff series win, helped elevate Steph Curry, and then was unceremoniously fired, and then Steve Kerr helped to become a dynasty. That feels like what the Buffalo Bills need, is that Sean McDermott took over a bad Bills roster, a bad Bills organization, gets in the playoffs their first year, then they draft Josh Allen, and they've had a lot of success with him. But the timeout in the last minute of the game was poorly used. It's clock management is so... Listen, it's not a simple art. I'm not going to act like it is, but the timeout on the Josh Allen sneak, first of all, calling the Josh Allen sneak to begin with, I thought was a very poor decision. Buffalo could have gotten the ball back with a chance to hit a walk-off field goal. Who knows what would have happened there? But it's the fact that his defense didn't show up to the party. Listen, to Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, they're going to cause you problems, but simultaneously, you've got to get a stop at some point. Now, again, 7 of those in Buffalo's defense, that came in a block punt. So that's not the defense's fault. It's the special team's fault. But listen, this is what makes this guy so special, and what makes all great athletes, truly great athletes special, is what can they do when ish ain't going their way? When stuff isn't going the way of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen more times than not is probably gonna be there to pick them up. They may not win, but Josh Allen, obviously, the last 3, I can argue Josh Allen might have been the best player in football this week. He was nothing short of spectacular. And so I think right now for Buffalo, you're not going to panic. Now, you do play the Detroit Lions this upcoming week. That's, not an enviable spot for anybody, given how great Detroit is in these close games. But listen, at this point, I think it's kind of indisputable. Like, Josh is the second best. I fought it for a couple of years. Listen, we understand how successful Joe Burrow has been at beating Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson has struggled, but he does have MVPs. End of the day, by the way, let's look at Josh Allen's numbers. The guy was just unreal. 430 yards, 6 tuds, 0 picks, 117 passer rating, and a 90 QBR. By the way, again, got literally nothing from his run game and Jack Diddley from his defense. So credit to Josh Allen. He was out of this world great. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.